When you see a big gray box like this, probably the last word that comes to mind is agile. But in today's installment of Gear TV, we'll look at some of Eaton's switchgear that's lean, fast, and delivers performance that's downright nimble.
Today we will take a closer look at Eaton's medium voltage front accessible switchgear. This front accessible switchgear is the first choice for large construction projects worldwide when cost and space are important.
This is Mike Abrahamson, product manager, and he's here today to take us on a little test drive. Mike, it looks to me like this is a standard 2-high breaker and trip unit combo, but I know it's not. What's the first big difference that a customer would notice?
Well, you're right, Jill. This is a 2-high breaker and trip unit combo, and it is fairly standard as far as how it works. First thing you're going to notice, though, when you walk up to the switchgear is how small it is. If you just take a look at it, it's about half the size of a traditional piece of metal-clad switchgear. You can actually pick this up with a fork truck, drive it across the plant, load it onto a standard shipping truck, and fit it into a freight elevator once you get on site.
And that's got to reduce the cost of shipping, right?
Absolutely. And not only the cost of shipping, but once this piece of gear gets on site, it reduces the need for overhead cranes because you can roll right up with a fork truck, pick the gear up, and maneuver it into a tight space in a control room. Behind this compartment here, you can see access to all of the primary cable connections. If you look here, we've got the upper and the lower breaker cable connections. And this is unique to this particular type of medium voltage switchgear. Typically, this will be found behind the breakers in a 100+ inch deep switchgear section. So by making all this accessible from the front and making all of our connections that are behind the switchgear maintenance-free, we've now eliminated the need to access the side of the structure or the rear of the structure. So now we can slide this against the wall to the side and slide it against the wall in the rear and actually have this positioned in a corner, eliminating an aisle all the way around the switchgear, which would be needed if you had to get access. And now we've eliminated 2 aisles, plus the overall depth of the switchgear is only 60 inches deep. So we've, again, very small footprint.
Okay, it's small, it's light, it corners well, but what do we have under the hood?
All of the safety features that you would expect to find in a piece of metal-clad switchgear, you're also going to find in this switchgear. So what we're looking at here is actually a 15,000-volt power circuit breaker with 40K interrupting capability. It's actually a withdrawable device. You can notice right off the bat there's a handle here, there's a lever. This is a fully withdrawable breaker, and all these levers and handles are all interlocks to make sure you go through the proper sequence of operations so that when you do withdraw this breaker, you're doing it safely.
Now let's go topside here and look at the trip units. We have an integrally mounted digit-trip, but the customer can specify any range of external trip controls, right?
Sure. As you mentioned, we have the integrally mounted trip units, which I just pointed out. That's our digit-trip family. We also have externally mounted digit-trip trip units. The integrally mounted trip unit is nice because it's self-powered. If the power goes out and comes back on, you know that the trip unit has power to protect you downstream because it's getting its power from the main circuit. So as you can see, this is a very high-end piece of medium voltage switchgear with all of the flexibility and all of the configurability of the larger medium voltage switchgear that traditionally everyone's used to. In addition to that, it's an extremely small footprint. We've got front accessible cable connections. We've got the ability to really cram this into the corner in an electrical room in a tight space. It really saves money all the way across the board when it comes to handling.
Mike, thanks for your time and expertise. The big gray box isn't what it used to be. Eaton's front accessible switchgear is fast, smart, versatile, cost-saving, maneuvers well, doesn't require a lot of maintenance, and is inside-out designed with operator safety in mind. In fact, it's such a high-performance machine that you almost want to paint it red and put racing stripes on it. Almost. Then again, in a race for innovation, it's no surprise that Eaton is first off the line. And if electrical performance is what gets you pumped, you'll definitely want to be here for the next installment of Gear TV. Thanks for watching.